The newest civilization has been announced. Nubia has made its way into Civilization 6, and today we're going to take a look at her and all the wonderful things she brings to Civilization 6. The unique ability for Nubia is actually really good. So it's plus 50% production to all ranged units, and then all those ranged units actually earn promotions 50% faster. And in addition to that, mines over strategic resources are plus 1 production, and mines over bonus and luxury resources are plus 2 gold. So let's break it down. So 50% production towards ranged units. Let's look at that first. This means she's going to be a huge asset in the early game because she can not only build up an army fast, but she can also upgrade them fast with the promotions being 50% faster. She can build a very big army very fast and get rid of the barbarian threat and get rid of any other threat she really needs to get rid of in the early game. That is huge. The crossbowmen and archers are very powerful in the early game, and if she has 7 or 8 of those and only 2 swordsmen, she can really take you out out of range and then come in with the swordsman and just take the city. It won't be that big of a deal. It'll be very fast, and they'll all earn promotions very fast taking that city and be able to just kind of roll through the early game. And after the early game, once you get into the mid game with iron and stuff like that, you can still see how Nubia is going to be very powerful because she has +1 production to strategic resources, and not only that, but she has mines over bonus and luxury resources are also worth 2 gold. So this means that as soon as she gets her hands on iron or whatever else she needs to mine, she's going to have a sweet economy, especially if she has a few veins of them in her empire. What this means is that she's going to need a plethora of resources in her empire in order to make the most out of her Civ unique ability. And even if she doesn't have those, her military power in the early and even a little bit of the mid game can work really well as she can get a big empire established. She doesn't have a whole lot of iron, she doesn't have a whole lot of resources in the early game. She can use that production, that military and production bonus to really take the resources by force if she needs to. This also means she will be very mean as far as trading goes. She'd rather have those mines and those resources in her own empire herself, and if she wants them that bad, she will take them from you, especially in the early game. So I'm going to stress this immensely. Please don't make her mad in the early game, because you're going to get screwed over with that huge ranged units bonus. Let's look at the unique leader ability, and it's really not that special. It's plus 20% production to all districts, and it rises to plus 40% if the city contains a Nubian pyramid adjacent to the city center. Not that crazy. The Nubian pyramid is obviously their unique improvement, and we'll get into that next, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's very standard actually as far as unique leader abilities go, so it won't be that big of a game changer. The Nubian pyramid actually does something a little bit different. It gives you +1 faith, which is very different for the rest of her kit, and it receives additional yields from adjacent districts. So +1 food if it's adjacent to a city center, and for all other districts, the award adjacency bonuses is +1 of the appropriate yield if that district is adjacent. So desert hills, and floodplain. Sorry. This is actually kind of weird because it gives you a lot of flexibility in the matter of food and other adjacency bonuses, but it gives you a weird +1 faith just by itself, and her kit really has nothing to do with faith or religion. It's just kind of off-putting from a technical standpoint. What this means is that you can really be competitive in more areas than one besides, trading, economy, and military. Faith is, again, really weird, but I think it's more just to even out the whole civilization instead of just trying to funnel you into one way of playing. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the title of this archer, but this is actually a huge deal. So this replaces the archer, and it's stronger with the archer with +1 movement, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but you have to remember the Civ unique ability. It's plus 50% production towards ranged units. This means that you have not only a stronger archer, but one that's made faster, and especially when you're in the late early game, if that makes any sense, these things get done in like 3 or 4 turns. You're doing this in 2 turns with +1 movement. You can really chase down those barbarians, chase down those fleeing opposition, and really kind of wipe out anyone on your continent that you need to be wiped out. This is huge because this archer is a lot stronger than the regular archer in more ways than one because of that Civ unique ability. So my advice to you is really get your archers up in the early game. Not too many, obviously, but enough to have an advantage. Because just like in the late game, how the air is super superior to everyone else in the late game, in the early game, range reigns king. So please get your archers up as fast as possible because they are so powerful with Nubia here. The Jebel Barkal Wonder, I hope I said that right, is a unique wonder, and it's unlocked at ironworking awards 2 free iron and +4 50 cities within 6 tiles. So kind of far away, actually, more than you would think. This is actually going back to the faith, like I said earlier, with the Nubian pyramid. It has +1 faith, so you can have +5 faith base with just your unique buildings. This is pretty good. It kind of gives you an underlying faith scenario you can go through. So I think the idea is that you really set yourself up for the early game, kind of get yourself situated, get your resources going, get your economy up and running, and have a really good ranged army, and then you can kind of use faith to guide your way through the middle and late game. Overall, I really think you should not underestimate Nubia here. She's actually very, very strong if used correctly, and she's honestly not that hard to play. The early range bonus really helps her in the early game, and getting those resources up and running in the early game will really help her in the mid to late game. And if she has any kind of faith, hills, or anything like that, she can really abuse some of those other powers in order to get ahead in the mid and late game. Definitely don't take her for granted. She's a lot stronger than she looks. With that, my name is Ben Z. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and like, dislike, go on, comment below and tell me why you rate it like you did. I'll see you guys in the next video.